Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Daily O, sponsored by Fine Row Pizza. I'm Brody Myers. We're glad you're with us this evening. Today marks the somber 26th anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing of the Murrah Federal Building that killed 168 people. Merrick Garland, who supervised the investigation of the Oklahoma City bombing, was the keynote speaker at a special remembrance ceremony this morning.
And every year on this day, wherever I am, I reflect on the loss so many of you endured, the loss that you continue to endure. In the words of the late Nobel Prize winner, Elie Wiesel, at the dedication of the United States Holocaust Memorial in Washington, for the dead and the living, we must bear witness. For not only are we responsible for the memories of the dead, we are also responsible for what we are doing with those memories.
Now serving as President Biden's Attorney General, Garland oversaw the prosecution of Timothy McVeigh, who was later executed for the crime. The memorial was built on the site where the federal building once stood. The building was razed in 2000 and replaced by the memorial and a park with 168 chairs in memory of each of the victims of the domestic terror attack. Because of the pandemic, the 2021 event was invitation only, and attendance was limited to family members, survivors, and first responders. Authorities say they arrested a former sheriff's office detective suspended of killing 3 people in a shooting in Austin, Texas. Stephen Broderick, 41, was arrested just after 7 a.m. Central Time, according to Manor, Texas Police Chief Ryan Phipps. Quote, he was walking down the side of 12300 Old Kimbrough Road, which is not far off from US 290. 2 callers called in a suspicious person meeting the description of Mr. Broderick. Our officers went out there and conducted a high-risk stop on him. He complied fully with the officers and was taken into custody, and they did locate a pistol on his waistband, end quote. Officers with the Manor Police Department responded along with the Travis County Sheriff's Office. Broderick was transported by the Sheriff's Office to the Travis County Jail Facility. Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza said he wants Broderick held without bail. Texas law permits his detention without bail because he was already out on bail on other charges. Quote, after a determination made with respect to Mr. Broderick's detention, the DA's office will move forward to present capital murder and other appropriate charges to a Travis County grand jury, end quote. Broderick's arrest came after Austin Police, Fire, and EMS responded to the city's Great Hills Trail and Rain Creek Parkway area around 11:42 a.m. Sunday, where they found 3 people suffering gunshot wounds. According to officials, the victims were pronounced dead at the scene. According to tweets from Austin Travis County EMS, the shooting appears to be, quote, a domestic situation that is isolated, end quote. Austin police said in a tweet that the shooting was targeted and the 3 victims, 2 women and 1 man, knew Broderick. According to Austin Police Interim Chief Joseph Chacon, a child was involved but has been located and is safe. He added the motive in the shooting is currently unknown. Quote, obviously this is a tragedy. We have people who lost their lives out here, end quote. Chacon said during a Sunday news briefing, Broderick is a former Travis County Sheriff's Office detective who was charged with sexual assault of a child. Travis County Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Kristen Dark told CNN Dark said Broderick resigned from the department last year after he was arrested and charged in the child sexual assault case. He was arrested June 6, 2020, and released on bond this same month. We'll keep you updated as the story progresses. The Derek Chauvin trial is in its final stages as the defense is giving closing arguments today. The jury will begin deliberation after those closing arguments are made by the defense and the prosecution. Chauvin is on trial for the May 2020 incident in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where George Floyd died while in police custody, while Chauvin placed his knee on Floyd's neck. While Floyd pleaded, I can't breathe, Chauvin is being charged with second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter of George Floyd. The 14 members of the jury are expected to soon announce the verdict of the case. Make sure to stay updated as more information about the trial breaks. If you've been on the internet lately, you might have seen this. This is a picture taken when the unsuspecting Wade family was attacked by a rabid bobcat in the early part of Friday morning. The video went viral as it shows Happy Wade, that's the husband, protecting his wife, going as far as to throw the bobcat across his front lawn. Here's more on that wild story.
Good morning.
It started out as a typical Friday morning.
I need to wash my car.
Happy and Christy Wade leaving their house to take their senior cat, Caroline Faith, to the vet. When Christy came out of their garage, she heard a growl.
I knew it was a cat because I know what a cat sounds like, but it sounded like a very angry cat.
So when Christy backs up to see what it is,
The face of this bobcat came around the corner of the car,
Christy tried to run between the cars to the street.
bit my hand, and I kind of drug it with me, and it crawled up my back.
Christy's husband, Happy, heard the screams and immediately knew something was hurting his wife. He came running around the car.
I just remember seeing this face, and it was trying to bite her right there in the side of the neck. And so I shoved my arm in, and that's why I ended up with it like this. I'm holding this thing up. Oh my God, it's a bobcat! And at that point I say, oh my God, it's a bobcat. I really didn't know what it was.
Happy says as soon as he saw it was a bobcat, he knew something had to be wrong with the animal.
I knew that it had to have had something. And so I figured it was rabies.
The cat bit Happy 3 times while he was holding it.
And I could literally feel the tooth on my knuckle.
So he tried to get it as far away from him and his wife as he could.
I thought, I'll throw it this way, 2 options. One, it'll see an escape route and it'll take off, or it'll stop just a moment where I can get a good shot at it.
The cat then comes back in the direction of the house instead of to the woods. Happy finally shot the animal because he knew something was wrong with it. Tests later confirmed the bobcat had rabies.
In my head, I knew it had already attacked 2 people. If it attacked somebody else and I didn't do something, morally, it would have bothered me for a long time.
Christy and Happy say they are grateful they were together that morning.
He saved my life, and I don't know where I'd be or what sort of shape I'd be in right now had he not been here.
Thank goodness everyone was okay, but wow, what an interesting story. I've watched that video about 1,000 times, and I probably watched it 1,000 more times. Next, we'll take a quick break, and we'll have your weather forecast. It's going to be an interesting week, and then Gabby Sprang will have sports later on.
Tired of paying for parking at those other airports? Fly Stillwater Regional Airport. We offer proximity, free parking, and short security lines. Still making long drives to Oklahoma City or Tulsa just for the airport? Stay close to home and fly with Stillwater Regional Airport. Daily nonstop flights to DFW with 800 plus flight connections in 29 countries.
Oh hey, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I'm not sure if you knew, but the Ocali has been doing big things this past year. Let me give you the rundown. Ocali TV had over 100,000 views in 2020. And listen, the traffic on the Ocali website is mind-blowing. Ocali.com had 1.5 million page views in 2020. But wait, there's more. I know you guys love social media, being that you're young and all, so I'm gonna let you in on some stats I recently got my hands on. The Ocali's Twitter has 19,000 followers, and its Facebook 10,000 followers, and it's only growing. The eCollie even has 2,200 followers. Crazy, right? I'm thinking with those stats, the only option left is for you to join in on the fun. Come join the cool kids. They're all probably looking at something on the Ocali right now anyways. Okay, that's all I have for you. The Ocali, fighting fake news since 1895.
It was a beautiful day today, high of 76, but a little cold this morning, 36. Through the middle of the week, it's going to be cold, high of 50, low of 32. That's at the freezing point tomorrow. And then as we get into the weekend, going to start warming back up, getting up all the way to 78 on Sunday. And then it's summer weather next week, 81, 75, 72. Lows across the board are going to be as low as 32 and up into the high 50s to the low 60s. Come back, Gabby Sprang has sports.
Oh, there you go. Superstar.
The end of the practice is when we do all of our intensity drills.
Okay.
She was going at it.
Stop. If we get them to Detroit by, let's say like Monday the 15th. Right there, there we go. Yeah! Just, you can't.
Don't want to talk about it.
When you see the water tower, you're gonna make a right.
If we win this, is the one way to get to the playoffs.
I know!
Welcome back to the Daily-O. I'm Gabby Sprang, and let's get you caught up on everything sports. As we head into this week, Cowboy baseball was in action this past weekend, taking on the TCU Horned Frogs in Fort Worth, Texas, in a 3-game series. The Cowboys had their bats rolling to start the series, putting up 8 runs on 18 hits in Friday's game. Unfortunately, the Horned Frogs came out with the win 9-8 to start the weekend. The Cowboys came back out swinging in Game 2 of this series with 6 runs in the first 5 innings of this game. This included a 3-run shot from Cowboy third baseman Christian Encarnacion Strand. The Cowboys would not keep this early lead, though, as a late rally by the Horned Frogs gave TCU a 8-7 win in walk-off fashion. Game 3 of this series was more of the same, with the Horned Frogs offense being too much for the Cowboys, as they fell 12-6 in the final game of this series. The Cowboys look to get back on track this week with a 2-game series against Arkansas Pine Bluff at O'Brate Stadium starting on Tuesday. First pitch is set for 6 p.m., so be sure to come out and support your Cowboys. Oklahoma State tennis was also busy here in Stillwater over the weekend, with the women sweeping Kansas and the men winning Bedlam against Oklahoma in style. The men, who are ranked 22nd in the country, will enter the 2021 Big 12 Championship as a 4 seed. The tournament will be played at Baylor's Hurd Tennis Center in Waco, Texas, starting this weekend, April 24th through the 26th. The women are also gearing up for their Big 12 tournament, a tournament where they will enter as a 5th seed. That event will also be held in Waco, but will begin this Thursday, April 22nd through the 25th. For the first time in the tournament, they will face Bedlam against Oklahoma. And a reminder, football fans, the Oklahoma State spring game is this Saturday at noon at Boone Pickens Stadium. Admission is free and masks are required, so get out and see your Cowboys and stay safe. Now for NBA news, the Oklahoma City Thunder were in action last night against the Toronto Raptors. The Thunder were coming off of 9 straight losses going into the game, and it would continue last night. Lou Dort continued to run the show for the Thunder amidst the losing streak, scoring 29 points, 21 of those coming in the first quarter. The Thunder have lost 13 of their last 14 games since losing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last month to a right foot injury. As for the Raptors, they are also deep into a season of struggles. Newly acquired guard Gary Trent Jr. has been enjoying life on his new team, scoring 23 points last night, and their leading scorer of late has been Chris Boucher, as he led the way for the Raptors with a 31-point double-double. The Raptors will have some time as they recover to host the Brooklyn Nets on Wednesday. The Thunder are back in action tonight when they travel to play Bradley Beal and the Washington Wizards to yet again attempt to break their losing streak. Now for the European Super League, in some of the biggest news in sports, 12 of the best soccer teams in Europe announced that they will be splitting from UEFA and FIFA and forming their own European Super League. This is a move that has come with severe backlash from fans, former current players, politicians, and ranking members across the game from all over. The idea proposed in effect to pin the elite teams from across Europe into a breakaway completion that will rival the UEFA Champions League and other competitions. Many are calling this move an act of greed, and teams are only looking after their own pockets. The Big Six in England, Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, Tottenham Hotspur, Chelsea, and Liverpool have agreed, and even the English Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has spoken out on the idea, saying it, quote, would strike at the heart of the domestic game and will concern fans across the country, end quote. Other teams include Italy's Juventus, AC Milan, and Inter Milan, Spain's Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid have all joined as founding members of the league. Former Manchester United player Gary Neville voiced his serious displeasure, said they plan on getting it up and running as soon as possible. UEFA and FIFA have already said if the plan goes ahead further, there will be serious punishments, such as being removed from the current Champions League tournament, banning players on their teams from competing in the FIFA World Cup, and even the team's host leagues are threatening to remove them, changing the game forever. When a California teen signed up to play varsity football at her high school, she didn't know it would break records and inspire others. For her, it was just for fun. Leah Pizzetti talked to the defensive line player about the impacts she made in just a short time.
Becca Cook is tough.
I mean, it's pretty physical.
So tough that these bruises are the norm. She's covered in them, her legs, her arms, but she wears them almost like a badge of honor.
I'm a defensive lineman.
This defensive lineman is the first woman to play a down on the varsity football team at Scripps Branch High School.
When I come back, everyone's like, you just made history. Like, I was like, okay.
She's the only female on the team right now, something she didn't put too much thought into when she joined.
I just wanted to play football. I had no idea the impact it would have on other women.
Since then, other students and moms constantly tell her they look up to her.
They're just like, oh, I'm just a fan. You've inspired me. It's so awesome to see you out here doing this and just representing us.
She admits it's hard, but that hasn't stopped her.
I am smaller. These players are bigger, stronger, faster, and I have to work 10 times harder to get to the baseline of their strength.
This is her first year on varsity, but her last year of high school, and Friday night's game is the last of the season, so it's her final time playing a game of football.
I know there's going to be a lot of tears from a lot of the guys out there. I don't know if I'll cry.
She's on to college next, hanging up her helmet with a goal of becoming a trauma surgeon. But this experience, making history, is a time she'll always carry with her.
If you really want to do something in life, just go for it. Because if you think about it later on in the future, you're always going to regret, oh, I never did this.
A game of football teaching this line woman to seize every opportunity. Leah Pizzetti, ABC 10 News.
Thanks, Leah. That's so cool that she can be an inspiration to young girls across the country. Before we let you go, let's run through some headlines from around the rest of the sports world. The #1 recruit in the 2021 basketball recruiting class, Chet Holmgreen, announced his commitment to the Gonzaga Bulldogs today. And then, hours after, Gonzaga guard Jalen Suggs announced he is declaring for the NBA draft. Former Washington quarterback Alex Smith has retired. Smith battled back from a nasty leg injury that almost cost him to lose his leg, returning last season, leading Washington to an NFC East title and winning Comeback Player of the Year. The Cincinnati Bengals unveiled their new jerseys this morning. It's the first change in jerseys in 17 years for the team. And this past weekend, YouTuber Jake Paul knocked out former MMA fighter Ben Askren in the first round of their boxing super fight. Now that's all we have for our show today, but make sure to follow us on social media at @thedailyo_TV. You can also watch our show on Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku, and on Sun and Link Channel 112. We'll see you back here on Friday. For the Daily O, I'm Gabby Sprang. Have a good night and go Pokes.